All right. So, this is Don't Fear Templates. My name is Jason McKella. This is
Meg Claypool.
and we're with Rooted. You want to go to the next slide? I don't want to touch your computer.
Oh, well, I actually appreciate that.
That's a great water bottle.
Isn't it shiny?
Thanks.
Fabulous.
In addition to websites, we make water bottles. So we're a one-stop agency for nonprofit communication strategy, design, and web development. My username is jmickela pretty much everywhere.
I'm Meg Claypool everywhere.
There you go. You're gonna have to. I don't want to.
I don't want your contamination.
Yes. And what we're doing here. Oh wait. Were there notes for this slide? I can't see your phone. Oh.
Yeah.
Anywho, we're going to be talking about templates and why you should use them, how it's easy, really.
The presenter mode isn't working properly, so we're kind of faking this. Everything's faked today.
So why don't you?
Why don't I? So, little disclaimer. Jason woke up this morning really ill and fought it off to come and present to you guys, but he's not totally up for it. So surprise, I'm gonna help present. And you know how you never put a live demo in a presentation, so we've got pre-recorded videos, but I didn't record the videos, so I have to have my little cheat sheet here. I'm so sorry, I know that's a major presentation faux pas, but that's what's going on. So, yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Sorry. Apparently there are a lot of sneaky ways we kind of weasel around using and editing templates, and a lot of times those ways work, but they're unnecessarily complex. When it turns out that editing templates is actually much simpler than a lot of people think it is. And so we're just here to not diss some of those workarounds like modules or, I don't know, what are some of the ways?
Rewriting a views field. So basically what brought this on, because I really wanted to present about React instead, was over the past couple years or so, at the same time Drupal was bringing in Twig to make templating easier, I keep seeing the same stuff. The stuff that people have been doing since Drupal 6 or earlier, that essentially hides code in the database. So if you need to fix a bug, make a change, you go up to your file editor, do a find for some class name, keyword, whatever, it's not in your files. And now you have this task of tracking down, like, okay, is this code in a block? Is this code in a view? Is this code coming from some, PHP filter field in, a node? So after seeing this quite a bit over the past year, I changed from the cool fun talk I wanted to do to seriously just trying to evangelize for templates. Like, it's easy, we should be doing it.
For fun and profit.
Mostly for profit.
Well, yeah. So, there's in your settings.php, probably your settings.local.php, you can enable template debugging, and that gives us a fabulous cheat sheet. How many of you have done that? You get this great green code, and it's got all kinds of suggestions for the templates that it wants to use.
Oh. We've kind of already...
Yeah, we did that. We did that too. Okay.
Here. So we have all these modules that do this stuff. Why are we going to muck about actually writing HTML when we make websites? Actually, can you just read the notes?
Sure. Okay, so why care about templates in the first place? Modules often don't offer a lot of flexibility. They give you fake flexibility. So they let you change things that you maybe don't even need to change, but then some things that you actually you know, because on a website there are things that you're never going to be messing with once you're done developing, unless you do a complete site revamp, which is something entirely different. But yeah, you know, then there are things that you need to change, and it turns out to be a big pain in the butt trying to make this module do exactly what you want, when in fact, if you just changed a few lines of code in a template, you could get the same effect. You wouldn't have to install a module, and you'd have all that sheer raw power.
And obviously, you know, you can read the slide. Code belongs in Git, not in your database. Make it easy on yourself 6 months from now when you have to update some code.
Future uses, thank you.
Git can also help, you know, push your code from, you know, local dev, staging, production. Making those same database changes in every environment gets tiresome. And that's just a really good entry point for errors, bugs. You might forget one little change here, and now it doesn't work. If your code's in Git, it's the same everywhere.
And the smaller your module footprint, the fewer updates you have to worry about, which is another concern with security. Let's see.
So, what we're doing here, part 2. So we're going to walk through making a simple landing page with templates. We're going to have a hero image with a title and some content, a short list of related content, which is keyed off of a taxonomy term on that landing page. And we're going to have a simple slideshow, which includes a title and a description and a set of slides, which will have an image and a title. The only modules that are going to be used are paragraphs and debel. Paragraphs isn't strictly necessary, but
It's
grouping
awesome.
the fields is nice.
And it's a nice user interface for content editors.
So for the hero content, what do we need? We need to take your node fields and move them into the page template. Because usually your node content will live in some kind of container within the page and not be able to span the full width. We're going to use an image field as a background image and have a custom paragraph template for rendering these fields together as a hero.
Easy peasy. All right, am I doing this? Heaven help
What?
us.
You can do it.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
man.
Hey, Jason, can I have permission?
Switch accounts.
Right.
So can I do this on my phone?
Or we could
Fine,
just
man.
switch accounts. Do you want to just sign in as you?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
use your rooted one.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna muck up your computer.
I was actually hoping for a presentation on switching Google accounts. So
Well, this is good. I'm really glad we can help you out there.
actually, in all seriousness, I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but I spend like half my day switching accounts to use like Jira and other things like that.
Right.
Has anyone found a solution for that?
Yeah,
ever?
you create multiple Chrome profiles, and you can have your different
What
windows
is
have
going
different
on here?
profiles, and they can have
No,
different
am I
Yeah,
signing-
two Chrome windows open with different.
Yeah,
Am I
different
signing up
profiles.
for?
Yep.
See, learn
Yeah,
something.
you.
There you go.
How do you go back?
They moved tab index for the login button.
There's no
You
back
said
button.
create new account.
Oops.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that
I use
sounds
it
great.
for-
Just go back with command.
Cool. I swear, like half my day I switch it back and forth.
Yeah, no.
What the
Oh.
heck? Okay, let's try this again. We're good.
Should we let's just get my laptop.
Get your laptop. We'll be signed in as you. It'll be easy peasy. Sorry, guys. I can do a dance, interpretive dance.
Good.
A dance like a white guy.
From the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
You're on.
Okay, so by default, all of the node fields are going to render in this node content area, and that's not what we want for our hero because we want it to span the entire page length. So we need to break that out and put it straight into the page template so it can be displayed full width. To do that, we're going to create a custom page template that only gets used on landing pages. So with our Twig debugging enabled, we get all these file name suggestions. They're a little hard to read, but they're there. And we're just going to steal
not yet.
Oh no, we're missing some important stuff. So we need to go make that important stuff happen. So in order to add a theme suggestion for our landing page specific page template name, we're going to use some exciting code, and it's going to get the type of node that we're on, the content type, and it's going to add to the suggestions page underscore underscore node underscore underscore the whatever landing page in this case, the node type. And on the suggestions, these underscores get replaced with hyphens. That's a little gotcha that you should be aware of. So if we do that, and then hop to our page and refresh the cache, then lo and behold, now there's a really useful node-specific suggestion here that we can totally steal. So this particular theme is a child theme of Bootstrap. So we're going to go into Bootstrap. This is really cool. You don't have to come up with all of this on your own. You just go into your parent theme. Some genius has already done this. You go steal the template you need, and then you just rename it to your very specific name, and you just edit it. So we just stole the generic page template, make a page folder. We're just mimicking the directory structure and paste it in there, but we're going to give it that suggested name with the page node landing page.html.twig. And that way, when Drupal gets on those pages, it'll pull this template specifically. And this is a very general template, so a lot of this isn't necessary, but we're going to just stick a little bit of code in there and make sure that we're actually using the right template. So when the cache is cleared, we're ready to go. Oh, I'm a landing page. So yay, we are using the right template. Okay, let's see.
Why is this not?
Okay, so moving node content to the page template is a two-step process. So first, we're going to use the hook preprocess page function in the themename.theme file. So here, this is don't fear templates, that's our hook. And we're going to load the current node and make sure that there is a current node. And we're going to get that file ready to be rendered in Drupal. So we're going to add it, let's see. So we're using node get field landing hero, and then we're using view, so it's a rendered view.
Well, so the view method renders a field in the same way that it's rendered for output on your page normally by the normal Drupal process. This is kind of a neat little method that you can use to, just grab a field from any entity, a node, paragraph, like taxonomy term, and when you call view on it, it renders it as if this were just part of the normal rendering process. And what's really interesting, and I can't go too much into it because we've already wasted enough time. You can pass in arguments to view that mimic what's on the display tab on, say, a node. So you can tell a image field to render as just a URL or use whatever other display formatter. You can pass all those display formatter settings into the view method, and take advantage of a lot of code other people have written.
So once we've got that rendered content, we can just store it in the hero content as a hero content variable in our variables, so that we can use it in our template. Let's see. The other thing we have to do is hide the content. Oh, well, here we are. We're using that variable now.
In the template.
In the template. And we're probably going to clear some. Oh, no. Okay.
No. This was
So-
the hiding the content.
Right, okay. That is almost completely unreadable.
Yeah,
But we're on a
that's
manage
great.
display page and we're setting this content to hidden.
So now that you're using code to render the hero content field, you don't want the node to render that field as well. You want to hide that from your node display. So
So now when we clear the cache, we should see, well, we should see things that are impossible to see.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, I think you reloaded again. We can see this giant image and some fabulous content. So it's ugly, but it's showing up, and that's the hard part. Because now we can make it pretty easily.
dude, stop being full screen.
Alrighty. So now we need to set up a template to display that paragraph so it's a little more aesthetically pleasing. So what we're going to need is a hero content paragraph type with image, title, and text fields. We already had that set up because obviously you saw the cat and the stuff. But what we want to do is we want to make the image render as a full width background image. We want the title to render as an H2 element. And hopefully the content should render under the title, like a fabulous teaser should.
So there's nothing all that special about this. It's 3 fields, an image, title, and a WYSIWYG content field. The only important thing to point out is over here, the display format for the image is set to give the URL to the image and not actually render it as an image tag.
So that we can grab that URL and use it as a background.
Is that function native in Drupal now, or did you need a
That's
function?
native in Drupal 8.
Okay, so with the paragraph fields correctly configured, we should have all the fields outputting. With the image field now outputting as the URL, which it's kind of hard to see, but it is. There's no giant cat anymore, we got a URL. In a real world site, you'd probably be trying to output, like an array with some source set and awesomeness. We're not going into that because, we're just doing the basics here. So, first you're going to create, holy moly, I moved too slowly. You need to create a directory for your paragraphs in your templates. We're matching the file structure of the parent theme. And we're going to go steal the template from the parent theme.
Nope,
So-
from paragraphs.
sorry, paragraphs, right, from the module. And, we need paragraph.html.twig. But we're going to rename it, that flashback was to get the appropriate suggestion for the template name. In this case, it's hero content. And there's a bunch of, this is a generic paragraph template. And here it is rendering all the content as one lump. But we would like to use Kint to figure out what that content actually consists of. So we're going to kind of dump it onto our page and get some names of stuff. So I can see in this array field_image, field_title, and something that went away too fast. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in this array, but down here, there's the 0th item of this is our image. So we're going to call that content field image, and we want that 0th item, which is our cat. If we had multiple images stored in that paragraph, then we would iterate through that, but right here we're just calling this one.
And we do that later.
Yeah. Let's see. And when we jump back, here it is, it's being output right there. So that's totally working. We've got all this stuff that it's displaying twice because we're still dumping the content right here, but we don't really need to do that anymore. So we're gonna rinse and repeat with our other fields so that we're displaying them individually and we can surround them with awesomeness. Which just HTML markup, but like awesomeness. So look at that. That was fast awesomeness too. So we've got our image as the background image in inline style. And then we've got an H2 with our field title in it, and a div with our like teaser content. So now, look at that. You can't really tell, but that is a very short background image. There's a cat in there somewhere.
This hero is a hobbit.
Yeah. But it's cool because now styling can happen. Like all the pieces are there, and oh look, caveat, we're not designers.
Yeah.
We have people for that.
Yeah.
So that was how we get a hero. Obviously, your hero will probably
Look a lot better.
you know. So next thing we want on our landing page is an article list. So we need a simple view that just lists our articles by taxonomy term. And we need a way to provide the term associated with the landing page to the view. And what we want is we want the view to render 4 across on desktop, 2 on tablets, and single width on mobile. And we just want 8 items. And we want to render that view as part of the node content. So in the content area. So here's our fabulous view.
So this view is I'm really
Hard to
glad you
see.
can't see it because it would be ridiculous if you could. This is a pretty simple related content view. If you've ever made a related content view, there's nothing special going on here. The only thing to point out is that it takes a contextual filter, which is a taxonomy term ID. Everything else is pretty standard. It's only displaying a title and an image. And here it's saying that it will show 8 items with no pager. And that's
it.
yeah.
What kind of view is it? Is it a page or a block, or does it not matter? Is it a page or is it a block, or does it not
It's an
matter?
embed.
Oh, it's an embed. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so now we need to attach the article list to the node template. And there are various modules that can do this, including blocks, assuming you don't want the article list to be in the middle of the node content. But doing this with code is actually quite easy. So we need a custom node template, and we've got a node landing page, and we're adding full because we want to only use this when we're displaying the full page. We don't want this view to or this template to get used when we're pulling in teasers, for example, or as search results. So let's see. And this is a generic template, but we don't need all that stuff, so we're just going to clear it out. So we're going to add a hook preprocess. Wait, did I go too fast or too slow?
Yep, there we go.
Okay. We're going to add a hook preprocess node function, and that's going to add the view to the variables passed to the node template. Let's see. We're getting the taxonomy terms stored in the page term field, and we're getting the taxonomy term ID right here.
There's a little bit of just knowledge that comes with knowing what things to have here. And I'd be lying if I said that I walked around with that knowledge in my head. I had to look this up. So for things like getting a taxonomy term ID, or if you're trying to get at data in a field that you don't know, you're going to have to use something like Kint or vardump, or
Go
just
through it.
use Stack Overflow like you do for everything else.
A dumb question.
Yeah.
file are we looking at here?
So this is your theme name.theme file.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
So let's see.
And what you're doing now is getting the taxonomy terms so that it can be filtered by the view. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then we're, yeah.
The taxonomy term ID, sorry.
Yes.
Let's see. So now we've got this stored as content in our variables.
No,
Uh,
explain
okay.
views embed view.
Okay, hang on. Go back. Let's see. We're storing the output of this view in the content array in a key called article list.
I'll leave this part.
Do this part.
All right, so views embed view is actually a very handy function if you're trying to embed views into templates, because this will essentially render your view for you into a variable that you can directly output in your template. So here I'm passing in the machine name of the view I want to render, landing page articles, the display ID, embed 1, and then you just throw in your arguments at the end. Here it's just the term ID. And so this will render almost exactly the same as rendering the view in a block or on a page or on a view page, whatever. There's only one caveat to that, and that is that when you render with views embed view, it does not include the view title, even if you set one on the page or in the view. So we're getting our view content. There's no title being rendered with it. So if you want to add the title to the page, you can either add it as HTML in the template, or since this is a render array, you can use the prefix item, which I'm doing right now. The prefix key. Oh.
I just ran this exact situation, and the way there's a function that's it's basically a function in Drupal that lets you check if a view is empty, and so I ended up putting my title into the template, and I ran a check on the on the dot template or on the theme or the PHP side that just says basically I have a variable I'm passing through that says has view or not. And then I can just check that and then output the title with the view embed in the template if it exists.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyhow, some way you're going to have to do something a little fancy to render your article title, view title.
So
If you could pop back in the video actually, because I want to mention something that we kind of glossed over really quickly. The other, wait for it. The rendering it without the articles, the content. I don't think we talked about that.
I don't know what you mean.
That's okay. Oh, your mouse kills me. Okay.
Oh, this,
So the
yes.
twig filter, because we're rendering the article list separately. Here, when we call the content, we don't want the articles to appear in our content because they'll be showing up twice. So in order to use our custom little template for the articles, we're specifically excluding them from the rest of the content display.
Right. And there is, I just want to bring up the module Twig Tweak. That was the name of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Twig Tweak basically gives you a Twig function that replaces most of this code right here. You don't need to use like the views embed view. There's a Twig Tweak. There's a function in Twig that Twig Tweak adds, which does exactly this.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're setting up a template for our views row. So we're going to go to the views directory in the templates directory, or we're going to create a views directory. And this is maybe a little OCD, all this super organization. It doesn't have to be nested like this. It just makes it easier to find stuff for future you to find stuff later. So we're just stealing the views module, the template from the views module, and we're naming it unformatted landing page article so that that specific view will call this template. Let's see. And it needs, oh shoot, I went too slow. It needs, stop. Thank you. When you're naming that, rename it so it has the machine name of the view at the end of the file. That's where that name comes from. Okay. You talk about the batch row filter because I'm not sure what you're doing here.
Okay. So I like, then this is just personal preference of mine. When I'm outputting content that I'm going to have as a for across section, using Bootstrap, you can output all of your content in one row and let Bootstrap worry about getting it into multiple, and there we go, rows for you. I like to, what in Twig is called batch my rows. So here you can see after rows, I have this pipe in the batch. This will output my items in groups of 4. So I'll go through and have different row classes or different row divs for every 4 elements. So if you're having trouble doing things like matching heights within a row or things like that, this can help you out a lot because all of your items in one row are all in one div rather than having all 8 items spanning 2 rows all in the same div.
And hey, look, now that we flushed the cache, they're in rows. Yay.
See, I don't think I show off the fact that it's responsive, but you've all seen Bootstrap before, and you know what that looks like.
Yeah. And this is just in case people want a better view of this file.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing is slider. What we need is a nested paragraph setup with a top-level slider that has a title, description, and a collection of slides. Remember, we did mention we were going to do nested paragraphs. Here it comes. A template that outputs the fields and slideshow, and a second-level template that outputs the individual slide fields in a format which is pleasing to the user.
So we're going to have to speed up a little bit. We're basically at time.
You get 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right. It's 45 minutes, not half an hour. My bad. Okay.
Whew.
No, we don't.
Okay. We're almost done.
Yes.
So here's how we're going to set up our paragraphs. We're going to set up a slide paragraph type. We're going to call it the field slider slide with an image and a title. We'll create a slide container paragraph type, slide container with a title, description, and a multi-value paragraph field that contains slider slide items. We'll add the slide container to the landing page content type, and we're going to add some content so that we can actually feel like we accomplished something.
Oops.
So setting up the slider is going to involve a few steps. There are 2 templates to add and a slider library to include.
Oh man, is this the wrong video?
I don't know. We've already gone over creating a basic paragraphs template, so we're just kind of skipping
It is
over
the
that.
wrong video.
Uh-oh.
Great.
Live demo?
Well, you did just log into Google, so you should be able to look at the new video, or the right video.
All
right?
right.
Let's see. Oh.
Like, the title's right. Did the wrong video get uploaded?
Possibly.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think this is it.
Okay. So we've got 2 templates to add and a slider library to include. So we're gonna we've already gone over creating a basic paragraphs template, and this is basically the same process. So we've got our paragraph slider container, that html.twig file. And the only thing that's new in here is we are going to want to iterate over the multi-value field slides.
All right,
So-
I can explain that.
Cool beans.
So when you're iterating over a multi-value field in Drupal, one of the first things that you'll notice when you try to do this on your own is that you get a lot of garbage that is not the field. These are all of the things that in Drupal starts with a £sign and is used for field settings, configuration, what have you. So if you want to iterate over a multi-value field without having to worry about all that stuff, you use this like 2 variable format for the for statement where you get the array key and the content associated with it. And then at the end you can have this if statement where if the first letter of the key is a £sign, just skip it. Don't do anything. So when you do this, this will basically, when we showed you that you could have the like field underscore slides .0, .1, .2. When you do this, you'll just get those 0, 1, 2, and those are each of the individual fields without any of the like access equals true or display settings or whatever.
And look at that. Now when we refresh the page, we've got all these images outputting.
What's cuter than kids?
Children.
His kid. She's a pretty cute kid. Okay, so let's see. So now we're setting up the slider. Yes. So we open up the template name libraries.yaml file, and we're going to add 2 libraries. We're using Slick Slider here. So there are others, but that's the one that we're using for right now. And Slick Slider has a dependency on jQuery. So, yeah. We want to make sure that jQuery gets loaded before Slick tries to do its thing. And we've also got a one specific to the landing page. So we're calling this template only on the landing page, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Dependency.
yeah.
And the
this
dependency of this one is on Slick Slider.
Yeah.
So the only thing that you have to specifically make sure to attach to your landing page is the landing page JavaScript, which will load jQuery and then Slick and then this library.
Yeah. And now, let's see.
And this will be the name of your theme / the name of the library.
Cool beans. And then we've got some JavaScript code that's going to initialize our slider. And you can study JavaScript, but
Learn JavaScript on your own time.
Yeah. JavaScript is cool. And yeah, let's flush the cache and see what happens. Right now we've got separate images. But now we've got a slider. It's a little ugly, but it's a slider. These things can be fixed. So notice that the fields are still the default paragraph fields. So we're going to need to add a template for these specific slides, because you can see, I mean, we've got title, image. We probably don't want this showing up, so we're gonna template that individually. So again, we're gonna copy a default template and remove the bits we don't need, and all that's left is that. And we are just going to output these fields. And right now, the title is an H4, and the image is above it. So, clear the cache again. I need to get that tattooed on my forehead. Clear the cache.
I'm sure it's backwards so you see the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. So now we've got our image and then the title down below it, and it's like super beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
looks
client's
great.
gonna love it.
So I think that might be it.
We're pretty much done. Yep.
Will
Jump
you
back
make this
to.
code available?
Yeah, yeah.
You need to make the videos public, but
Yeah, the videos and the slideshow need to be made public, and obviously I have to fix it because the wrong video's in there. But the code for this basic site is on my GitHub. And then I listed the Twig Tweak and Twig Field Value modules. Twig Field Value just simplifies the process of getting field values out of fields in a template. And it adds a lot of cool little filters and a lot of, I don't know, interesting tricks to let you do things like have a comma separated list of clickable taxonomy terms or something like that in your template without having to manually loop through anything or, do a lot of work to get it. It's actually, I've used it on a few projects. I like it a lot.
and then Twig Tweak just has a great name, so we have to install it.
It's
No, it's
actually
really
very
it's not.
useful. It has like a lot of stuff for the responsive design images.
Oh yeah.
Really? I didn't know about that one. I'll have to
You
check
just-
that out.
You just like put the little the pipe symbol and then what image you want or whatever, and then it just does it.
Nice.
So.
Cool.
Oh, it's magic.
Twig Tweak is magic.
All right.
Speaking of Twig Tweak, I heard about Twig Bamboo. Have you heard about this? Apparently it's all that and more.
No, I haven't heard of this one
It got
yet.
mentioned at the front end some yesterday.
Yeah, it got I saw it on one of the postcards, but I wasn't there for it getting talked about. So yeah, I'll have to Twig Bamboo.
That's what they called it, yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Said it was even better.
All right.
Maybe,
So we have 1 minute for questions.
There's a question back.
I was just curious as far as, I believe it was in the pre-process note that you made the content available in a variable of the view. I was just wondering, does that work with any view type or does it have to be an embed view type?
Yeah, that works with any view type.
Okay.
I use embeds just because it's the word embed. I'm not even sure if that's the right usage of the embed view type. It's just that to me it makes sense.
Clearer
But
than-
it can be a block, it can be a page, it can be whatever.
So I'm kind of doing a similar thing with Bootstrap and rewriting paragraph types, the whole 9 yards. One of the things I'm dealing with though is the views exposed search form field.
Okay, yeah.
I want to take advantage of Bootstrap input groups so that the button and the search field are kind of together, right? And they look a certain way, right?
Yes.
So previously, what I would have done would be like preprocessors and foam alter hooks.
Yeah.
How might I do this in Twig? Is this going to be multiple parent-child twigs that I need to modify to get the output?
I don't think it is. I think, because it sounds like everything you're doing, like if you were to write your page in just straight HTML, it sounds like this would all just be one file, right? Like,
That's what I
you know,
would
so-
imagine, but I'm looking at, like, for example, where, so there's a lot of twigs involved in getting this field output. There's the twig for the action button, right, the search. There's the twig for the field itself, the input field, the text field. There's the twig for everything that wraps that, and then another one that wraps that. So which one do I?
so I would go for the form template
Uh-huh.
and see if you can get from there. Generally, Drupal will add a lot of code around, like within your field templates, but usually you can either hide things or use your CSS to kind of get the individual field looking how you want. But to lay out your fields, just the form template is where I would start. you know, and of course it depends on what design you have and what you're trying to accomplish. But that's what I would do. The biggest help there is just turning on the theme debugging so that you can kind of go up the chain of templates and find the one that's outputting all the stuff you need to change. Yeah, that's where I would start. I did that, probably not exactly what you're talking about, but something similar recently. Kind of relaying out my exposed filters so that I can get a better like output and something using Bootstrap so that I can lay them out differently on mobile. And it was really not very hard. I don't remember exactly what files I had to edit, but it's not too bad. All right, I guess that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am sorry it didn't go as smoothly as it could have.
So